What screams I peaked in high school? When I was in high school, this guy a year before me had a fearsome reputation. At house parties, people would fear him just by name alone. He would show up to parties with his cronies and start fights. He came from a decent enough family. Everybody wanted to be on his good side. Anyway, he graduates high school, and most of us were still in 12th grade. I remember he used to come around lunchtime to smoke with the people out front, shoot the breeze and talk about how much fun it is to just sleep in and do nothing and have all this freedom. A couple of months of are cool too. Why are you still here as we awkwardly shuffled back to class? I dated a guy with his high school mascot tattooed on his arm. It was such a turn off. A guy who graduated from my high school back in 2003 was arrested a few years ago for his second DUI. He was wearing his Letterman jacket in his mugshot. Partying with high schoolers when you're 30. We used to play indoor floor hockey in a loft room in the big gym of my middle school. One game I scored 3 goals, one of them being a bank shot off the wall. The next year I wrote about the game for an assignment in English class and the teacher read it to the class the next day. I'm not sure which one was my peak. At my 10-year reunion, the prom queen came wearing a tiara with a custom Queen 03 sash over her shoulder. I had to go outside, I was laughing so hard. But I'll be damned if she didn't rock that outfit the whole time. So, respect. Still sad though. Billy Joel feels compelled to write a ballad about how you and your ex were the king and the queen of the prom. How the two of you married right after high school. And how it all went to hell from there. Bonus points if your names happen to be Brenda and Eddie. Still bullying the nerds at your 10-year reunion. Sharing every memory from Facebook, talking about the good old days and wish we could go back when. It's only been a few years since graduation. As someone who recently graduated, the students who returned to the school every time they came home from school just so people would pay attention to them. Also not sure how to explain it, but the people who now posts blank screens and just text on their Snapchat stories that just say things like always crazy to see who you can really trust when this happens, or surprising to see who really cares about you when you need friends the most. Like I said, I don't know how to explain it, but there's definitely a correlation. Me. In a horrid realization. In the back of my 92 Camaro. While icing that knee I blew out at the championship game senior year. Reading through the divorce papers. Filming yourself running drills and throwing footballs off camera in front of your van mobile home. Always showing up to the football field wearing your Letterman jacket. Years after you barely passed summer school in order to graduate. The class that graduated before me had their 10-year reunion last year, and apparently a big fight broke out over something that happened when they were all still in high school. I guess that is one way to tell if someone peaked in high school. Pretty embarrassing. Teachers who suck up to the athletes and other popular kids and ignore the less popular kids. My freshman year Spanish teacher was like that. I went to school with a girl whose parents graduated from our high school 20 years prior. All 4 members of their family got the school's logo tattooed. Her boyfriend still goes to the football games and reposts his game highlights on Instagram. We're all 21-22. I'm from New Mexico and live in the largest city in the state. We've never had a good HS football team, and the BF usually goes to pick up underage girls and brags to everyone about how he was the star football player. If someone from another team makes a really good play, he'll make some kind of remark about how he could have done it better, or he'll go into a detail about his JV football experience. Making any mention of SAT or ACT scores. Bonus points for that IQ test you took when you were a kid online. I was in the NHS, so I know a little bit about leadership anytime after high school. When I was in high school, the cool kids partied hard. They'd get blackout drunk and use whatever illegal substances they can get. I was looking through the profiles of some of those classmates, and a few of them are still doing the same shit. Talking gangsta shit despite growing up in a middle class suburb. talking about how they miss their kids who are in CPS custody because they went to jail for using, going on rants about narcs, etc. They're about 27 or 28. What made you cool in high school makes you a loser as a grown-ass adult, especially when you're a parent. 1. Still wearing your Letterman jacket and class ring in your 30s. 2. Talking about high school sports games from a different decade as if they meant something. 3. Still living in your hometown and looking forward to that night at the bar just before Thanksgiving, when everyone who left comes home, so you can talk about high school stuff to people who have grown up and have real lives now. Anyone that still wears their Letterman's jacket after high school. My friends used to get together to play Halo, the old 4-person split screen multiplayer, and they'd destroy me every time. Now, we've all moved away and we play shooters together online occasionally. I win almost every time now that they can't see my screen. Those duckers screen peaks in high school. Hanging out with kids in high school after high school. People who say high school is the best time of your life. When at an interview and asked what your biggest achievement was and responding with, well, when I was high school. 1 strap. Everybody knows 2 strap is the thing now. High school, I peaked in elementary school and it was downhill from there. Edit. What happened? It was like 2 AM when I wrote this and then fell asleep. Thank you everyone. I'm kind of sad that people relate to this, but I'm happy for not being too alone. Sorry for feeling that way and thank you all again. Wearing your high school ring after graduation. Not letting go of old memories where you were QB on the football team, doing senior pranks, shitting on the freshmen, on and on and on, and just never shutting up about it. Truck nuts. Actually, that might scream they've never peaked. My friend once considered joining a new band. I had a look at the ad and it specified all members are expected to act like honor roll students. He was in his 30s. The band did not find members. One of the few good things, maybe the only good thing, about the UK's usually duct education system is that hardly anyone, except those who have had an expensive private education, gives a duck about their old school. No loyalty to the old school. Sports loyalty when at school was practically non-existent. No one, apart from those on the teams, usually gave a shit about how the sports teams did. No yearbooks, no jackets, no proms, at least when I went to school. That aberration seems to be creeping in now. No one gives a duck. School reunions are rare if a thing at all here. I still know and see a few of my classmates or ones who were at school when I was there, but only because they still live locally and it's not that big a place. The others I have no idea where they are, how they are, even if they're still alive, and with maybe 2 or 3 exceptions, have no great wish to find out. Still drinking in the same pub you drank in as a student, because that's now full of students. So you're that guy or girl who never left home and drinks with school kids much younger than you. I'm 34 and have never peaked. I think that screams louder. Being a high school arsehole then trying to reconnect with the people you look down on because daddy's money can't buy you friends. Never advancing your life past the moment when you graduate. I have a cousin who still lives with his parents, has had the same job he had since junior year, and has done duck all with his life. Alternatively, I have a cousin the same age still living with his mom, but he's going to college and taking care of his grandmother. I think he wants to make it as a concept artist, but he's working on a fallback degree before he makes the big leap. Huge difference. Wearing your class ring. Like, why were they a thing at all? They were so chunky and ugly and cost like $70 on the low end. Huge social media presence. Full of interactions with people from high school that you are friends with, but never spend any time with in person. Still going to high school parties when you've been out of school for a few years. Selling Molly to high school girls and asking them to stay and roll with you.